She was supposed to be invisible that day. Just another range assistant walking back and forth, replacing paper targets, taping holes, doing the quiet work no one bothered to look at twice. The shooters barely noticed her as she moved downrange between drills, head slightly lowered, ear protection hanging loose around her neck. To them, she wasn't part of the exercise. She was background. The Navy SEALs lined up behind the firing line, confident, relaxed, laughing between rounds. These were men used to pressure, used to being watched, used to being the best in the room. When one of them glanced her way, it wasn't curiosity, it was impatience. She was slowing things down. "Hey," one of them called out, louder than necessary. "You done yet?" She raised a hand to signal she was clear and walked back calmly. No rush, no apology. She set the last target, stepped behind the line, and started gathering spent casings near the benches. That's when it happened. One of the SEALs, tall, experienced, the kind who carried authority without needing to say much, watched her for a moment longer than the rest. Not because she looked impressive, because she didn't look nervous. Not around rifles, not around noise, not around men who knew exactly what they were capable of. He nudged the shooter next to him. "You notice that?" "Notice what?" the other replied, already reloading. "She moves like she belongs here." The comment earned a few smirks. The SEAL shrugged, then did something no one expected. He cleared his rifle, stepped back from the line, and turned toward her. "You," he said, holding it out. "Ever fired one of these?" The range went quiet in that subtle way, conversation dying off one breath at a time. She looked up, surprised but not startled. Her eyes flicked from the rifle to his face. "I'm not scheduled to shoot," she said evenly. "I know. Humor me." A few laughs broke out behind him. "Careful," someone muttered. "You'll scare her off." He ignored them, still holding the rifle out, waiting. She hesitated for a moment, not because she was afraid, but because she understood what accepting it meant. Eyes, expectations, judgment. Finally, she wiped her hands on her pants and stepped forward. The SEAL handed her the rifle, and without a word, stepped back, farther than expected. He crossed his arms and watched. "Targets at standard distance," the range officer said cautiously. "1 round." She nodded. The rifle settled into her shoulder naturally, too naturally. Anyone paying attention would have noticed it right then, the way her stance aligned without correction, the way her grip found the exact pressure point. The laughter behind her faded. She didn't rush, she didn't overthink. She breathed in, then out. The shot rang out. The target snapped back hard, dead center, clean, no hesitation. The sound echoed, but no one spoke. The SEAL uncrossed his arms slowly. His expression didn't change much, but his eyes did. He stepped forward, took the rifle back gently, and checked the chamber, as if hoping for an explanation that didn't exist. "Again," he said quietly. The range officer hesitated. "That wasn't—" "She's clear. Let her shoot," the SEAL cut in. She took the rifle again. This time no one laughed. A few of the others leaned in, attention sharpened. She fired a second round. Same result. Perfect grouping. Silence pressed down on the line like weight. The SEAL finally spoke, voice low. "Where'd you learn that?" She handed the rifle back and reached for her ear protection. "A long time ago," she said. As she turned, the sleeve of her jacket shifted just enough to reveal a worn patch, faded, stitched over, easy to miss unless you knew what you were looking for. The SEAL did. His posture changed instantly. "That unit," he started, then stopped. She met his eyes and gave the smallest nod. Respect replaced curiosity. Not loud, not dramatic, real. He stepped aside and motioned toward the line. "Your range is yours," he said. She shook her head. "I was just replacing targets." And with that, she walked back downrange, invisible again,
leaving behind a firing line that would never forget the moment they handed the wrong person a rifle and learned exactly who she really was.
The range didn't return to normal after that. The shots resumed, but something had shifted. The confidence was still there, but it had edges now, sharper, quieter. The laughter didn't come as easily. Every time she walked past the line with a fresh target, eyes followed her, pretending not to. The Navy SEAL who had handed her the rifle stood slightly apart from the others now, not because he was embarrassed, because he was thinking, replaying the way she'd held the weapon, the breathing, the control. Those weren't habits you picked up casually. When the drill paused again, he walked over to her while she was stacking unused targets. "You said a long time ago," he said, "that wasn't civilian training." She didn't stop working. "No." "Active?" She slid the last stack into place. "Once." He studied her face, searching for rank, for age, for any clue that would make it make sense. "You don't miss," he said. "Not a compliment, a fact." She finally looked at him. "Neither do you." That earned a quiet smile. The range officer cleared his throat and raised his voice. "Final drill, moving targets, volunteers only." No one stepped forward immediately. The SEAL glanced at her. "You're not on the list," he said almost to himself. "I know." He hesitated, then did something no one there would forget. He turned toward the range officer. "I'll sit this one out." A few heads snapped around. Before anyone could question it, he stepped back and nodded toward her. "Let her run it." The range officer frowned. "She's support staff." The SEAL didn't raise his voice. Didn't need to. "She's qualified." The pause stretched. Then the officer sighed. "One run." She stepped onto the line as the targets began to move, fast, unpredictable. This wasn't about accuracy anymore. This was about instinct. The first target appeared. She fired. Hit. The second crossed hard left. Hit. The third popped up late. She adjusted mid-breath. Hit. The rhythm was different now, faster, sharper. There was no room for thought, only muscle memory and trust in training that never really leaves you. The final target appeared for less than a second. She fired without hesitation. Hit. The range went completely still. No one clapped, no one spoke. Even the instructors stood frozen, staring through scopes like they'd just seen something that didn't fit into any category they knew. The SEAL exhaled slowly. "That unit patch," he said. "They retired it years ago." She lowered the rifle. "Some of us didn't retire with it." He nodded once. Deep respect now. "Why are you here?" She handed the rifle back. "Because sometimes the best place to stand is where no one's looking." She picked up the stack of targets and walked away again, leaving behind a range full of elite soldiers who had just been reminded of something they'd all learned once and maybe forgotten. Skill doesn't announce itself.